website. Josh Goodin is his name. He is the Chief Marketing Officer. And CrowdPush is new to the scene, and we're going to learn all about it here before we get out of here on this Wednesday. Josh, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Jordy. I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. So we're giving fans the opportunity to put money in players' pockets. Is that right?
That's the short and long of it, pretty much. You got it.
Okay, how do we get there?
All right, so maybe best to start with a little bit of context. If you look at the way most of these NIL contracts have come out thus far, you see really two sort of major ways it plays out. First, you see big brands like a Nissan coming in and sponsoring a player. Nissan came in and sponsored Bryce Young at University of Alabama, $1 million. And you see a few of those, but a lot of what you see is more like local, medium-sized businesses sponsoring a portion of the team. You saw a company called Bill Forrest down in Utah. They came in and sponsored every walk-on at BYU. And now BYU has a 120-man squad instead of an 85-man squad. You see players, or rather, like a restaurant down in University of Texas, right across the border here. They came in, and because the name of the restaurant is Burnt In, they've given cash to every tight end on the University of Texas' football team. And kind of the way we saw that is a couple of key people left out of the process. And so that's where we sort of jumped in. Happy to go at that if you want me to explain exactly how we work.
Absolutely. Please.
Yeah. Okay. So really we see that there's a couple of different groups that are being completely left out of the process. And the first one of those is the fans, right? Every fan, we sit on the couch every Saturday and we watch these teams and we root for them. And NIL sort of happening to us. We don't really have a way to participate in it. It's been something that's going on and we're watching and hoping for the best, but there's really not a way for us to participate. Another group of folks that gets left out are frankly most of the players. If you go back to the Bryce Young example a minute ago, there's an O-line that stands in front of that kid every Saturday. And those guys really haven't received anything as far as NIL goes. Yet the guy they're protecting has received, $1 million, $2 million at this point. So they're grinding it out. They're doing their 9 to 5. They're going to school on top of that, and they're not really getting compensated. And then we sort of discovered a third group along the way that's really hesitant to jump in. You've got medium and small businesses that are not sure they want to tie their brand to a young person. You see what happened up at Duke a couple of weeks ago. You see that young man up there got a DUI. So brands are reasonably hesitant to put their name against one of these young players. And so that's where we've stepped in. We've created a crowdfunding mechanism. We're called CrowdPush. We create pushes. And so the fans can contribute to the push over the course of the season. And then we're going to take the money that the fans contribute and we're going to distribute it to the entire team equitably at the end of the season. So you, the fan, get to jump in and contribute and participate with the team. And we're not Nissan. We're not looking for $1 million for one player. We're looking for every fan, $20. Everybody give a little bit, and it's going to make a big difference to the teams.
If you're a fan, can you, like, if you want to give money, can you give it to a specific player, or does it just go into that pool of money that's then distributed out later?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the long run, we're going to probably create a mechanism by which we can go after specific players. But right now, we want to make sure that we're providing every player with an opportunity to receive some cash. I mean, if you look at some of the things that Saban and Sweeney have said, the players, it's distracting. So we're creating a mechanism where they can just sort of check in and watch it. They don't have to do a whole lot. So in the long run, the short answer to that is yes. In the short term right now, we're focused on the whole team. And on the equitability side of it, we're not just focused on basketball or rather football or even just men's sports. If you were to go to the site now for LSU, you'll see women's gymnastics, you'll see women's basketball, you can see men's basketball, you can see the football team we're collecting for next season for the football team. So it's pretty broad as far as what we're doing already.
As we can see on that website right now, Alabama football is in the lead, so we need to change that.
He's meant from Fairhope, I believe.
Saban's personal fund.
Yeah.
No comment.
Now, are there any responsibilities tied to the athlete, or is it just like they don't have like appearances or posts or anything like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we don't want to be too burdensome on the players, right? These guys have a responsibility to the team. So what we want to be able to do for them is really give them an easy way to participate. So what we're going to require of them is at the end of the season, we take all that cash, we're going to create NIL contracts with each and every player. And we're going to set up a way for them to just basically make social media posts through the course of the season and just support what we're doing. Say, hey, pay attention. This is good for the players. This is good for us. And really encourage fans to do that. We're also going to ask that they participate in an interview, right? So we're going to sit down with players and very much like a 60-minute style interview and just interview like that offensive line we were talking about a minute ago. There's really not been a good way for the fans to feel like they're connected to the players. So on top of all the crowdfunding stuff, we're going to start to create some of these interviews that create that connection, right? Really bring the fan into the team and what's going on and inside their headspace. And so that's kind of the limitations of what we're going to ask. It's not broad because we want to make sure they stay focused on winning games.
Who distributes the money?
We do. So that's a great question, Jordy. One of the things that is not clear, I think, to a lot of people without having a conversation with us is the effort that we've gone to be above board. So we've got 3 teams of lawyers, and one of those teams of lawyers has read every NIL state law that's been put on the books.
Jesus,
every piece of
how long
guidance
did that
take?
He's still in the basement?
Lord.
Glad it wasn't me.
Yeah. You found my stapler?
You're right, exactly. But it means that we're creating a verified, above-board legal way for fans and small businesses to contribute, right? And there's always going to be a paper trail. There is always a contract at the end of a push. And that's what separates us from, I think I heard somebody a minute ago mention something along the lines of GoFundMe. What makes us so very different from GoFundMe is whenever you contribute to a GoFundMe, maybe that house for that veteran is going to get built. But with us, there's a paper trail. You know that you gave your cash, we collected your cash, we gave it to the player or the team that we said we were going to give it to.
So
that makes us a little bit different.
So how can our listeners become involved immediately?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things. I'd say that if somebody is, intrigued but a little bit unsure, you can go and email us, just info@crowdpush.com. And you can get right to the leadership team, and we'll engage with you, answer your questions, try to give you a little bit of comfort about what we're doing. And then if you want to just jump on the site, right now, again, we've got 4 different sports up for LSU. As you pointed out, Alabama is in the lead at the moment. Quick thing, I think Mississippi State's about to pull an end around and come on hard with the baseball team from some stuff that we're hearing.
Nice.
Right? I know we've got a Mississippi girl on the call here with us.
We do.
So, I mean, it's an interesting place because there's going to be a little bit of competition that happens, I think, once we start to see the numbers rolling. And just to be clear, the numbers are low now. We just started. We're like 2 weeks old at this point, getting the thing out there.
Wow.
So already getting some traction.
That's
Good for you
awesome.
for taking the jump, man. CrowdPush.com is the website. He's on Twitter @GoodJoshin. And it is Josh Goodin is who we are speaking to, the chief marketing officer.
We'll play on words there.
From CrowdPush. We like it, man. We like that here in our space too. So what's the initiative here in the early days? What are you what is your main task? Are you looking for schools? Are you looking for more people to become engaged in the online donations or the online I guess links to apply the money there?
Yeah, we're looking for people to jump in.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the way this is set up, the schools have to stay pretty hands-off as far as NIL goes. And so we're creating those contracts with the players. Now, if there are players listening, we're doing front-end NIL contracts with some of the players already to help get the name out there. In the tech space, technically we're a tech startup because we got a tech platform. There's something called dog fooding where you use your own technology or your own product to sort of get your name out there. Well, our product is NIL. So we're creating NIL contracts with some players and some teams right away so that we can get the word out there. But for as far as the fans go, jump in. Get ahead of Alabama. Get ahead of Mississippi State because I think this is going to have a huge impact on the way schools move forward with the way they engage with players. There's definitely some interesting things that are going to happen as a result of this. I mean, like the brand thing. If you're a University of Texas player today, that's great. But if you're a high school kid and you're trying to decide whether to go to Texas A&M or University of Texas, and you're a tight end, and you see the tight ends at UT are getting paid, how does that impact your decision-making process?
Wow. It's a
Yep.
crazy day in times in college sports, man. It's wild to think that this is the stuff that people are going to really be paying attention to. Thank you very much, Josh, for the insight this morning. We'll be checking back in, but get online at crowdpush.com. Check out that website, crowdpush.com. Thanks again for the time.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
You got
Thanks,
it.
Josh.
There is Josh Goodin.
That's a really cool.
It's pretty cool.